Welcome to Digging into the Future. Today we've got Raj Mirpuri from NVIDIA, and first time joining us on this important program to talk about what's going on in NVIDIA and the cool stuff that's going on around the world with them. So welcome, Raj.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome and my first PTC. So I'm really excited to be here, to be in Hawaii.
Tell us, I mean, obviously you guys are the headline show these days, and the first, I think NVIDIA came last year for the first time to the show.
Yeah.
And some great stuff is going on. I mean, you're driving, your hair's on fire with the amount of AI stuff that's going on. Maybe give us a little snapshot of how you see the world right now and artificial intelligence and how it's driving NVIDIA going forward.
Yeah, so first, right, NVIDIA has been at the forefront of what Jensen calls accelerated computing. And that's really helped evolve Gen AI from what it was to now being completely practical and benefiting not just for the AI natives, but also everyday tasks. And we're seeing this evolve over and over again. And part of this is the creation of what we call the AI factory. The AI factory, takes data and power as input and produces tokens. Tokens are intelligence. And so the faster you produce these tokens, the lower the cost of the tokens, the faster you're seeing productivity gains, whether you're creating code, you're doing everyday tasks, summarizations, and even in tough segments like healthcare and telco and retail, we're seeing Gen AI benefit and drive productivity benefits significantly.
So when did you join NVIDIA?
Well, I've been in NVIDIA for about let's just say 20 plus years.
Wow.
Yes, and it's been a fantastic ride. Have had the chance to start as a product manager, evolve from there to sales, partner sales, and now focused on standing up our NCP Cloud, which is the NVIDIA Cloud Partners. And these are the neo clouds that we work with globally. We have about 150 partners. Very proud to be an NVIDIAN for this long, and just lucky to be here.
I mean, it's got to be like kind of a wild experience, right? Because I think all of us have, just sort of, when you started at NVIDIA, did you ever think you'd be at a place where it's growing at the pace? Because I mean, NVIDIA grew, but it never grew at this speed, right? I mean, the magnitude and the impact on the world. I mean, you're the most valuable company in the world right now, to be honest. And that probably wasn't the case 5 years ago or 8 years ago, right? So it's really been a big run in the last 7 or 8 years, right?
Yeah, we were a graphics company, a gaming company when I first started, and I started in the workstation business. And Jensen, created this opportunity for us by realizing that our GPUs were fantastic for not just graphics tasks, but everyday general purpose tasks. And so what has been a mantra over all of these years that has driven our success is the fact that we're in the ecosystem creation market by doing amazing things like creating CUDA, a simple API that allows you to address the GPUs directly. Researchers and developers access this. We created an ecosystem of partners that benefited and that sort of was the genesis of AI. If you remember the first seminal paper in 2012, where the AI correctly predicted a cat, and that's now turned into generative AI. Jensen personally built the first DGX computer, the supercomputer. He delivered that to Sam Altman at OpenAI. And what we didn't realize that spawned that the whole Gen AI becoming a reality in 2022 when ChatGPT was launched. Could we have foreseen all of this? Hard to imagine, but Jensen saw it and clearly created not just a company with an amazing culture where we all sort of work together to go drive this, but also an ecosystem of partners everywhere in the world. You yourself are a partner of ours, and we're all sort of working together to advance Gen AI. So it's been a great ride.
No, it's got to be. I mean, it's been fun to watch, and all of you have been fun to watch, and you in particular. And the challenges of trying to build this thing on a global scale to build
Yeah.
partners in every one of these markets is it's
Yeah.
truly remarkable what you guys are doing. What do you see? Everyone's looking at out towards 26, 27, 28, and seeing numbers that are massive, right? And then obviously everything you do
Yeah.
is linked to the ecosystem, which means the ecosystem, you need more data centers, you need more power, you need more
Yeah.
network, you need all this stuff. So everything that starts with you
Yeah.
ends with billions of dollars of other investment that comes with it. I mean, do you see this train going at the same pace, or do you think does it slow down, or does it become more efficient where it doesn't take as much infrastructure to get to?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you see it?
Yeah. We we truly believe, you think back to when the internet was born, and then you think about the mobile, you add both of those, and that barely scratches the surface of where we are today with Gen AI. It's massive, the changes that are happening every day. Um, the fact that we were able to lower the cost of tokens by 90% in 1 year is unprecedented. Um, but there are some challenges ahead, right? And clearly that as we start continuing to build out, as folks start building out data centers, we're seeing folks run into issues with power. Being able to find data centers to build AI factories this year has become a problem. But fundamentally, if you do this right, and if you do this with well thought out principles about, not just about, hey, how much hardware can I pack in, rather, how do I generate the lowest cost tokens, and how do I make this productive, you're going to do the right thing. Um, what we start with, we tell all our partners, start with our reference architectures, right? We spent a lot of time building this perfect balance between CPUs, GPUs, networking, storage, so that when you deploy this, it's just going to run well. It's going to drive low cost of tokens, fastest go to market. Once you've done that, now it's our job to help you sort of go identify the off-takers. And we work a lot within the ecosystem of AI natives and digital natives, and we're bringing these folks to our partners. We're kind of like a hub, a framework where all this offtake comes in, power and data centers, and we're able to sort of help continue to expand this ecosystem. But more importantly, we are concerned also that at some point, for example, in 2026, it's challenging, not finding enough capacity. And so we have to continue to work with all of our partners to continue to build prior to demand. Don't wait for the guaranteed contracts before you start building, because we are building ahead of demand. Right? We have to do that. We have to make sure that we're continuing to support the growth of Gen AI as this moves forward.
Now you're kind of at the hot spot within NVIDIA, which is dealing with the neoclouds, right?
Yeah.
What role do you see them playing going forward? I mean, that's obviously one of
Yeah.
your key areas that you're getting focus on, right? Is the neoclouds, and a lot of people look at them as positives and negatives. They say, okay,
Yeah.
there's a lot of capital coming to work, but they're small companies. They're stepping into some big liabilities at times.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you see their role in the whole ecosystem going forward?
Yeah. We created this NCP program about 3 to 4 years ago. CoreWeave was one of our first NeoCloud NCP partner, and they've of course grown really, really well, and are deploying our Gen AI at scale across multiple partners. But most importantly is, we did this to diversify our channel. It was important that we reach everyone, that democratize Gen AI, and the only way to do that is to scale out partners regionally, globally. There's sovereign AI, there's enterprise AI, and our hyperscaler partners alone cannot meet everyone's demand. You got to be able to stand up capacity in Australia. You got to be able to stand up capacity in India. So we saw this great little opportunity for our NVIDIA cloud partners. And today we have about 150 partners, and they're all very active, and they're continuing to drive growth. We're excited for our NCP partners, and we've seen this evolve so quickly. Like you said, it's only been 3 to 4 years. What we anticipate is that 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 they can also be a great channel for hyperscalers,
Yeah.
right? And in a sense, this world is all connected: off-takers, hyperscalers, and NCP partners working together. There's so many more workloads that are being uncovered every day.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a partner a couple of days ago, and what he mentioned was that inference is a rapidly evolving market. It is going so fast, much faster than training now. But what they've uncovered is that they're a small company and they're making 10 million calls per day, right? And if you multiply that by the number of tokens, some of these tokens are about 5 to 10 tokens per call. We're talking billions of tokens generated by a small company now.
Yeah.
Imagine all these inference companies that are driving this inference at the edge, and it's so important to have that meet that demand, and that having NCPs there, build the latest digital infrastructure to support that is going to continue to be so important. We anticipate a large growth in this NCP business.
No, I think it's going to be huge. And what do you now? The other thing is, do you think there'll be, this? How does the ecosystem change? I mean, there's you guys, there's the Chinese sort of looking at some things that they're trying to do, and then there's also competitors that are traditionally from the chip space, right?
Yeah.
So the MDs and the Dells of the world and these types of companies. I mean, how do you see it going forward? Do you see it as kind of a multiplayer market, or do you think you guys continue to hold the kind of the keys to the castle for the next couple of years? Because it seems to me that you've been holding the keys for the last couple of years, which has been good.
Well, I don't know if I should talk about the competition. I can only talk about what we focus on.
Right.
And our focus is build the best infrastructure, continue to build out this ecosystem, focus on what's important. We're spending a lot of time focused on some of our industry verticals like healthcare, retail, telco, financial services. Our go-to-market is by industry segments. So we're going to continue focusing on that, continue to find workloads, bring enterprises along. We've seen tremendous enterprise uptake for Gen AI. There's plenty of partnerships that can be built and are being built every day. We're seeing a tremendous uptick of newer type of companies evolving that are helping drive AI at the edge. Industrial AI is becoming more and more important with robotics. We're seeing this with, of course, autonomous driving is a perfect example of edge-based AI. And the faster connections, the faster response times at the edge is going to continue to be important. And so we're seeing this great of the training sitting at the centralized location, all these edge locations running inference. So we continue to see that evolve. And like I said, we just love the fact that we can be the center of all of this.
Well, one thing that you actually hit on an interesting point that a lot of people are talking about, which is the edge, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's been the last 2 years, it's been these big centers, whether it's been Wisconsin or Texas or Finland's, but it sounds like there's also a pretty good opportunity for the guys to play at the edge, the smaller data centers, as you start to get into doing inference and where the agentic models start to move out. I mean, is that also an area that you're putting a lot of emphasis on, which is the sort of the guys out at the edge?
Absolutely. We think that disaggregated inference is going to be very important at the edge. We're seeing applications. I mentioned robotics just now, and autonomous driving, but physical and industrial AI has to be done right at the edge. The data will still be in a centralized repository, great training data there, but connected back to these edge computers that have to be instantaneous.
Yeah.
Imagine a robot that's waiting more than a few milliseconds. It's not going to be effective for what they're trying to do. So if you think about it, right, and you go through this cycle, great training data, focus on the tokens, double click on power. You got to make sure you got good power. The worst thing you could do is you could build an AI factory, not have enough power, and you're just stranded. And next thing is reference architecture matters. It's the spine that connects all the GPUs together, the fabric, internal fabric, and then the east-west traffic. Want to make sure that's seamless. the last thing you want to do is have a GPU wait for data to come in, because that's just stranded compute capacity, and that's millions of tokens you could be generating. And then finally, an edge backbone and an incredible ecosystem. All of these have to work together.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, it's not going to be easy to deliver Gen AI at scale.
Yeah, and I guess that leads me to one last question, which is the sovereign AI piece of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is also a big piece of one leg of your stool, I
Yeah.
guess, that you're trying to. And how successful has that been? I mean, has that been? Are you seeing adoption at the sort of the government levels? And I know there's some great stories in Europe that are happening. Obviously, the Middle East has done quite a bit, but you don't hear it ubiquitously across the world, right? There's gaps, it seems like, in terms of sovereign AI.
Yeah, we've seen some success.
Yeah.
We've seen some success in Asia. We've seen success in Indonesia and in India, where they've created specific large language models that are catered for sovereign AI, and so we're seeing some really good applications that are being used by local governments, and what also we've seen is that. As a byproduct of this, NVIDIA has multiple platforms that we have. We were on the Hopper family, and of course we rolled out Blackwell, and then Jensen talked about Vera Rubin. And what's important is that we provide so many choices to our customers, sovereign AI customers, and as this grows, we're seeing that the value that these platforms hold has continued to expand. We've seen some of these GPUs over 5-6 years still hold tremendous value, which is unheard of in this business, right? And if you think about it, data center life cycle is 15 years.
Yeah.
A GPU, when folks looked at this, when they built the commercials, they always look at 2 to 3 years. We've seen our NCPs close contracts for 7 years on some of these GPUs.
Yeah.
What that means is you can invest with confidence and continue to leverage that same architecture and over many years and benefit from that. It's also great for our partners, right? Because it's the economics work in their favor. And I'm saying this because as a byproduct of this, with sovereign AI, we want to make sure folks invest with confidence because of the value that we bring, continue to build the foundational models that they need to support their local language, the local culture, local government, and we will make sure that we are able to help them sort of customize and fine-tune and improve the quality of those through our partner ecosystem, whether it be a GSI, whether it be an AI native, a digital native that helps them build these sovereign AI platforms. We'll continue to do that, and with the confidence that our platforms brings tremendous value to all our partners. So,
no, it's and I think it is probably the one of the key things for the future, right? Is to make sure that the sovereign piece is there, because that allows long-term sort of build-outs to happen, right? Which is to make it more. That's the secret sauce. One of the secret sauces. Well, listen, Raj, thank you very much for joining us today on Digging into the Future, and we'll enjoy seeing you around the conference. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.